For daily Ask Reddit, doctors and nurses have read it. What self-diagnosis of a patient surprisingly turned out to be right. My mom is a nurse supervisor at a nursing home. Multiple times, patients have walked up to her and said goodbye, that they are going to die that night. Even though these residents have been perfectly mobile, and with it, they have always been right. Before passing, my dad had 2 heart attacks. The third time it was fatal. He knew, in a way, he was dying. Don't know how to explain. The pain lasted approximately 30 minutes, and he asked us to take him to the hospital. He always hated hospitals, and never asked people to do anything for him. My sister had a lump behind her ear that was causing her pain and was growing. My mom used to be a nurse, and she thought it didn't look right. It wasn't just a cyst, so she kept monitoring it and started to become worried that it might be cancerous. For a whole year my mom went back and forth with doctors asking them to take her seriously, and one doctor finally agreed to go in and biopsy it. Lo and behold, my sister had stage 1 cancer, and it was a rare form at that. Not a doc or a nurse, but back in the early 80s my mum, 30 at the time, could not convince several docs that she had breast cancer. It was different to just a lump or pain. They all responded with "you're too young." Finally got one doc to write a referral to a specialist so she would shut up about it. She had breast cancer, was told she may need a mastectomy, but after going in they were able to remove enough without having to go that far. She went back to the original doc and had a go at him and said if she ever heard his name come up for malpractice in the future she would make a statement against him. She was in medical industry. Told him to never tell a woman she was too young for breast cancer. Obligatory, not a doctor, but my own self-diagnosis that took 3 doctors to believe me. A stray cat came into our garage and had kittens, and I was the one taking care of them, and they wound up scratching the ever-loving shit out of my arms. Wound up with some bumps on my arms, being extremely sore and tired, and my armpits were swollen to the point I couldn't put my arms down without pain. Went to the family doctor, told him I thought I had cat scratch disease. He asked me to bend over and touch my toes, for God knows why, and then told me I was just out of shape. I was in the best shape of my life at this point, and he sent me on my way. He didn't check any of my other symptoms. Went to the ER immediately after, because I couldn't move my arms much, and I knew I had cat scratch, and told the nurse there what happened, and she didn't seem to believe me either. Huffed and puffed, and finally let me see a doctor. Doctor comes in, I say nothing. He asks what's wrong, and I tell him all of my symptoms, and he looks down and sees the cuts and bumps on my arms and asks what they are. I told him they were kitten scratches, and he goes, "Yeah, you have cat scratch disease." I laughed and told him what happened, but he was pissed because apparently it can be fatal if left untreated. TL. Dr. It took 3 medical experts to get diagnosed with what I knew I already had. Don't tell doctors what you think you have, because they seem less inclined to believe you, so only share symptoms. Not the doctor, but I went in because I had shingles. Told them up front I thought it was shingles. The doctor kind of chuckles and she says, "Well, you are far too young to have shingles. It's impossible." So I lifted my shirt and showed her my side where it was, and I instantly saw her eyes widen as she goes, "Oh my, that is definitely shingles." The doctor and nurses were a little sheepish and apologetic, but they did a great job helping me get better. I was the youngest case they'd ever seen, early 20s at the time. My mom went to the doctor's complaint about a pain in her lower back by her kidney. The doctor did a quick checkup and told her it was nothing, that she was probably just sleeping wrong. My mom mentioned cancer and the doctor said that it wasn't very likely because people with kidney cancer don't usually feel anything. She was adamant that something was wrong. So she went to another doctor that told her the same thing, but said he would run some tests to show her that it wasn't cancer. When the results came back from the test, it turned out she did in fact have cancer on one of her kidneys, and because she caught at such an early stage, they were able to remove it before it spread. not a doctor, but when I was in early grade school I had an accident on a trampoline and thought that I broke my knee. We rushed to urgent care and they said that I was just bruised. The following week, still in pet and running and doing sports, my knee still hurt and we went to the doctor again, not urgent care, and I fractured my femur right above my knee and had to be on crutches for 2 months. Also, the second time I got a concussion I was rushed to urgent care and they said it was a migraine. I knew I had a concussion and so did my family. I ended up taking 1.5 months out of school and did part-time for another month. I don't trust urgent care.